What if I told you that kindness could ruin your life? A provocative statement, isn't it? Well, before we jump to conclusions, let's take a little stroll down philosophy lane, specifically towards the school of Stoicism. At its core, Stoicism is about virtue and wisdom, about mastering one's emotions to live a life of tranquility. It's a philosophy that champions the strength of character over the whims of circumstance. Now, why are we talking about Stoicism here? Because we're going to discuss a particular Stoic philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, who had some rather intriguing insights on kindness. Yes, kindness, that universally applauded virtue, can be seen from a very different perspective through the lens of Stoicism. Intrigued? Good. Because we're about to delve into the paradoxical waters of how kindness, despite its seemingly benign nature, can sometimes lead to negative outcomes. Let's delve into the 8 ways in which kindness can, according to Stoic philosophy, cause more harm than good. Firstly, the desire to please everyone can lead to a loss of self. A perilous path indeed. When we're excessively kind, we often compromise our personal boundaries, and in doing so we risk losing our own identity. Imagine a chameleon constantly changing its colors to adapt to its surroundings. It's a survival strategy, yes, but in the process the chameleon loses its unique color. Similarly, when we bend over backwards to accommodate everyone else's needs, we often neglect our own. We become like the chameleon, changing ourselves to fit into others' expectations, losing our own color, our own identity. This self-sacrifice might seem noble, but it comes at a steep cost. We begin to lose sight of who we truly are, of what we truly want. We become strangers to ourselves. And in this constant endeavor to please others, we forget to live our own lives. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Secondly, kindness can open the door to exploitation. The constant giver, the ever-pleasing, can often become a fertile ground for manipulation. This is not a judgment on the virtue of kindness, but rather a caution against blind benevolence. A person's kindness can become a beacon that attracts those seeking to take advantage, turning a virtue into a vulnerability. Stoic philosophy, as taught by Marcus Aurelius, emphasizes the importance of discernment and wisdom in dealing with others. It encourages us to exercise kindness with wisdom, to understand the intentions of those we interact with, to not allow our good nature to become a tool for others' selfish gains. Kindness, without the balance of wisdom, can become a one-way street that leads to a dead end. We must remember that while kindness can bridge gaps and build connections, it should never be at the cost of our self-respect or personal boundaries. Kindness without wisdom can lead to unintended harm. Thirdly, kindness can create an expectation trap. The cycle is as insidious as it is subtle. We extend our kindness and it is welcomed, we continue and it becomes anticipated, persist and it evolves into an expectation. The danger lies not in the act of kindness itself, but in the expectations it can unwittingly cultivate. When our kindness is not met with the gratitude we imagined, disappointment can swiftly follow. Yet we must remember the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics. They taught us to manage our expectations, to accept the fallibility of human nature. We cannot control others' reactions, only our actions. We must remind ourselves that kindness should not be a transaction, a quid pro quo. It should not be an obligation, but a choice made freely without the weight of expectations. The trap of expectations can taint the purity of our kindness, turning it into a burden rather than a joy. Kindness should not be a burden, but a choice. Fourthly, kindness can breed resentment. Let's delve deeper into this paradox. It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? How can something as pure and virtuous as kindness lead to such a destructive emotion? Well, picture this. You're continually giving, always extending a helping hand, but what happens when you don't receive the same level of generosity in return? When your kindness is met with indifference or even exploitation, resentment can begin to simmer beneath the surface. This is where the wisdom of the Stoics comes into play. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most respected Stoic philosophers, taught about the importance of inner peace and self-contentment. He urged us not to hinge our happiness on the actions of others. Instead, We should find contentment within ourselves, detached from external validation. In a nutshell, constant giving without receiving can lead to resentment. However, by aligning ourselves with Stoic teachings, we can navigate this risk and maintain our inner tranquility. Remember, kindness should not be a one-way street. Fifthly, kindness can foster unhealthy dependency. You see, when our kindness is unbounded, it can become a crutch for others, making them reliant on it. This hampers their ability to grow and stand on their own 2 feet. It's like continually giving a man a fish, instead of teaching him to fish. In the long run, you're not doing him any favors, you're creating a dependency that inhibits his growth and independence. This brings us to the teachings of Stoicism, especially those of Marcus Aurelius, who underscored the importance of self-reliance and personal growth. Stoics believed in the power of the individual to shape their destiny and withstand the ups and downs of life. They valued resilience, not reliance. In being kind, we must strive to empower, not to enable. Our kindness should serve as a springboard for others to bounce back stronger, not as a comfortable bed for them to lie on indefinitely. Kindness should empower, not enable. Sixthly, kindness can lead to self-neglect. Let's delve into how an excess of kindness can inadvertently steer us towards overlooking our own needs. Stoicism, the ancient Greek philosophy, has always emphasized the importance of self-care. Marcus Aurelius, one of its most renowned practitioners, believed in the principle, first, do no harm to yourself. When we pour all our energy into meeting the needs of others, we often leave nothing for ourselves. We forget that we too need nurturing, rest and time to recharge. We ignore the subtle signals of our bodies and minds, pushing ourselves to the brink of exhaustion, all in the name of kindness. In the Stoic view, this is not kindness, but rather self-harm. We must remember that our capacity to be kind to others is intrinsically linked to how we treat ourselves. We cannot pour from an empty cup. It's a simple truth, yet often forgotten. Kindness begins with oneself. Lastly, kindness can create an illusion of control. This is a subtle and often overlooked pitfall. We might think that our kindness buys us leverage over others, or that it confers us with some sort of power. This is a dangerous misinterpretation. Stoic teachings, as exemplified by Marcus Aurelius, emphasize the importance of authenticity and sincerity in our interactions. Kindness should never be a transactional tool. One might be tempted to use kindness as a means of control or manipulation. But this is a hollow game, it's an illusion. The only thing we truly control is our own actions, our own responses. The moment we believe that our kindness gives us control over others, we betray the very essence of what it means to be kind. Kindness should not be a currency, nor a weapon. It should be a gift freely given without expectation of return or power gained. True kindness is free of ulterior motives. So, we've explored the 8 ways kindness can potentially ruin your life. From the Stoics' perspective, we've delved into the perils of pleasing everyone, the dangers of exploitation, and the trap of expectations. We've also discussed the risk of resentment, the pitfall of dependency, and the cost of neglect. And finally, we've examined the illusion of control. These are not indictments against kindness, but rather they serve as reminders. Reminders that kindness, like all virtues, must be balanced with wisdom and self-care. This aligns with the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor. He urged us to not lose ourselves in our pursuit of kindness. Instead, we should strive to maintain our sanity, our individuality, our self. After all, the object of life isn't to appease the majority, but to avoid joining the ranks of the insane through unbalanced acts of kindness. Remember, kindness is a virtue, but only when it is balanced with wisdom and self-awareness. As Marcus Aurelius said, the object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane.